Hari Yashodanandana Prajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Prajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajajanarajana Yashodanandana Prajajanarajana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, Kantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gatai Gop Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading the Krishna book, chapter 12, Killing of Aghasura. You can follow along in your devices, I guess. Let me find it here. So chapter 12. There we go. 14. Om Gyantimanandasya Gyananashalakya Chakshumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Gadamayam Dadati Swavedantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupa Sagarata Sagana Radhitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vrijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagada Lalita Shri Vishakvikanscha Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Japando Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Paramami Hari Priya Vanchakapatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The killing of the Aghasura demon. Once, the Lord desired to go early in the morning with all his coward boyfriends to the forest, where they were to assemble together and take lunch. As soon as he got up from bed, he blew his buffalo horn bugle and called all his friends together. When I'm reading, I'm always picturing like the sound effects. Krishna just wakes up, and then all the boys are running. So keeping the calves before them, they started for the forest in a great procession. In this way, Lord Krishna assembled thousands of his boyfriends. They were each equipped with a stick, flute, and horn, as well as a lunch bag, and each of them was taking care of thousands of calves. So, quite an assembly. It says there were unlimited number of cowboys with unlimited number of calves. And His Holiness Kadamba Maharaj is thinking it's like it must be a traffic jam somewhere, in the spiritual world. But in the spiritual world, rasa comes before tattva. So he was explaining that in the spiritual world there's no time. But there's sequence. So he says that when Krishna wakes up, he goes to other people's houses for breakfast. And then he eats and eats. And it's still breakfast time. So he does it a few times and it's still breakfast time. Because time is under control of serving the rasa, under Yogamaya's control. So he doesn't have that problem. So he can have unlimited friends around him, unlimited calves in a forest, through the forest paths, and there's no traffic jam. It all works out. So space will also serve Krishna's pastimes. It says that Goloka Vrindavan is described as a lotus flower. And it's opening. So if you've done Braj Mandal Parikram, it's a lot of walking. Has anyone done it? Braj Mandal Parikram? The whole Braj, around the whole thing. No, it's a lot of walking. Try it. I highly suggest it. It takes 1 month. And it is quite austere, but you're very ecstatic at the end. So how did Krishna walk to all these places? They're so far away. So to serve the pastime, the Vrindavan describes a lotus flower. It'll close up, and then it's a short distance to get to, say, Kamyavan from Vrindavan, or to Surya Kund. So this is. I'm always trying to picture what's going on here. All the boys appeared very jolly and happy in that excursion. Each and every one of them, including Krishna, was attentive to his personal calves as he herded them in the different places in the forest. The boys were fully decorated with various kinds of golden ornaments, yet out of sporting propensities, they began to pick up flowers, leaves, twigs, peacock feathers, and red clay from different places in the forest, and further decorate themselves in different ways. So nice. While passing through the forest, one boy stole another boy's lunch package and passed it to a third. And when the boy whose lunch package was stolen came to know of it, he tried to get it back. But the boy who had threw it to another boy. This sportive playing went on amongst the boys as child pastimes. It said they'll throw the package until the boy cried. We can see where we got it from. I remember doing that in school. You take some kid's hat and then throw it, and then he start crying. Okay. When Lord Krishna went ahead to a distant place in order to see some Pacific scenery, the boys behind him ran to try and catch up and be the first to touch him. So there was a great competition. One would say, "I will go there and touch Krishna," and another would say, "Oh, you cannot go. I will touch Krishna first." Some of them played on their flutes and vibrated bugles made of buffalo horn. Some of them gladly followed the peacocks and imitated the onomatopoetic sounds of the cuckoo. What does this mean? Onomatic, poetic. Anyone got dictionary? You can highlight a dictionary. I want to know the meaning. What is it? Make it sound like an animal. So cuckoo. What's the sound a cuckoo makes? Cuckoo? I don't know. Apparently it sounds very nice. Like Radharani would like to hear the singing of the cuckoo. No one wants to try? Cuckoo! So I heard someone up there. While the birds were flying in the sky, the boys ran after the birds' shadows along the ground and tried to follow their exact courses. Some of them went to the monkeys and silently sat down by them, and some of them imitated the dancing of peacocks. Some of them caught monkeys by the tail and played with them. And when the monkeys jumped into the tree, the boys followed. When a monkey showed his face and teeth, a boy imitated and showed his teeth to the monkey. Some of the boys played with the frogs on the bank of the Yamuna, and when out of fear the frogs jumped into the water, the boys immediately dove in after them. And they would come out of the water when they saw their own shadows and stand imitating, making caricatures and laughing. They would also go to an empty well and make loud sounds, and when the echo came back, they would call it ill names and laugh. They would swear. They were swearing. You see, just to be there, it'd be far out. As stated personally by the Supreme Person of Godhead in Bhagavad Gita, he is realized proportionally by transcendentalists as Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here, in the confirmation of the same statement, Lord Krishna, who awards the impersonalist the pleasure of Brahman realization by his bodily effulgence, also gives pleasure to the devotees as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are under the spell of the external energy Maya take him only as a beautiful child. Yet he gave full transcendental pleasure to the cowherd boys who played with him. Only after accumulating heaps of pious activities were those boys promoted to personally associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who can estimate the transcendental fortune of the residents of Vrindavan? They were personally seeing the Supreme Person of Godhead face to face. He whom many yogis cannot find even after undergoing severe austerities, although he is sitting within their hearts. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. One may search for Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead, through the pages of the Vedas and Upanishads, but it is difficult to find him there. However, one who is fortunate enough to associate with a devotee can see the Supreme Person of Godhead face to face. So this is the mercy of the pure devotee. We don't see God through the eyes, we see God through the ears. And that is the sadhu, the pure devotee. In Tab vidi pranipatena pranipasena sevya upadekshanti te gyanam gyanastat vidarshana. The self-realized souls impart knowledge unto you because they've seen the truth. They've seen Krishna. They can even see you as a spirit soul and your relationship with them. So that's why when the spiritual master engages you and instructs you, that's actually, your service, your love, that unique love that Krishna wants to taste. He's engaging you to give that to Krishna. Everyone has a unique flavor that they can give Krishna pleasure. So then, by hearing and executing that service, Bhaktyamana Vijananti Yavanyas Tatvata Tattvamo Tattvato Ganta Visite Taranantaram. It's only by devotional service that one can understand Krishna as the Supreme Person of Godhead. And being fully absorbed in that consciousness, you attain the kingdom of God. So, even now we're picturing the pastimes, what they're wearing, the clay they're getting, rushing and throwing the jewelry away. This is through Prabhupada's mercy. Even residents of Vrindavan, Babajis, they just have one cloth and they're just begging all day and just doing bhajan. Many of them read Prabhupada's Krishna book. We think it's for beginners, because we distribute it on the streets. So, we distribute for new people. We say, oh, you read it, you'll have dream of Krishna, But actually, this is 10th Canto Bhagavatam. And we get it through that authorized ecstasy or bhav of Srila Prabhupada. And all these residents of Vrindavan, these Babajis, they're reading Prabhupada's Krishna book. They go, this is most highest. You can feel the rasa. So somehow it just fell on our laps. It's so easy. After accumulating pious activities in many, many lives, the cowboys were seeing Krishna face to face and playing with him as friends. They could not understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality Godhead, but they were playing as intimate friends with intense love for him. When Lord Krishna was enjoying his child pastimes with his boyfriends, one Aghasura demon became very impatient. He was unable to tolerate seeing Krishna play so happily, and therefore he appeared before the boys intending to kill them all. This Aghasura was so dangerous that even the denizens of heaven were afraid of him. Although the denizens of heaven drank nectar daily to prolong their lives, they were afraid of this Aghasura and were wondering, when will the demon be killed? The denizens used to drink nectar to become immortal, but actually they were not confident of their immortality. On the other hand, the boys who were playing with Krishna had no fear of the demons. They were free from fear. Any material arrangement for protecting oneself from death is always unsure. But if one is in Krishna consciousness, then immortality is confidentially assured. So we can see that in the pastimes of Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad, and Lord Nrsimhadev. Hiranyakashipu was the smartest atheist you could probably ever think of. He did the whole austerity thing, and Lord Brahma came, and what would you like? I would like immortality. Sorry, can't give you what I don't have. Okay, then. So he's like a scientist. He thinks like where we can tweak it. So I don't want to die inside, outside, the land, the sky, in the water. I don't want to die by any animal, man. I don't want to die by anything living or dead, or by animal, demigod, or human being. So it's like everything was taken care of, And he took over. All the demigods were bowing at his feet. He just had to raise his eyebrows, and they were like Shiva. And actually, the universe ran better just because they were so scared of Hiranyakashipu. And what was Prahlad? Prahlad in front of Hiranyakashipu. What was the best thing you learned? One should worship Vishnu. What? And he just kept preaching boldly. He didn't care because he knew he was always with the Lord. He was always protected, just like the Gopas were. They weren't scared of any demon. And it came to the point that he's ready to chop his head off. He says, you really think that your God's going to protect you? Yes, he's everywhere. Really? He's in this pillar? Yes, he is. I think it was Guru Maharaj who said it, but someone was saying that in some Purana that Nrsimhadev was already behind the pillar. He's like, is he in this pillar? And then Prahlad could see behind the pillar, and Nrsimhadev was waving, don't worry, I'm here, So, and then we could see that Nrsimhadev not only protected Prahlad's word, but he also protected Lord Brahma's word as the pure. He's Bhaktavatsal. He upholds the word of the pure devotee. He killed Hiranyakashipu not on the ground in the sky, but on the lap, not in the day and the night, in between, in the dusk. No, he wasn't animal, demigod, or man. He was in between. He didn't kill him with anything living or alive with the nails, and that's not a weapon either. Because nails, they're not living or dead. So then, could rip it out. So the coward boys, they felt the same confidence of being immortal with Krishna. The demon Aghasura appeared before Krishna and his friends. Aghasura happened to be the younger brother, Putana and Bakasura, and he thought, Krishna has killed my brother and sister. Now I shall kill him along with all his friends and calves. Aghasura was instigated by Kamsa, so he had to come with determination. Aghasura also thought that when he would offer grains and water in memory of his brother and sister and kill Krishna and all the coward boys, then automatically all the inhabitants of Vrindavan would die. Generally for householders, the children are the life and breath force. When all the children die, then naturally the parents also die on account of strong affection for them. So, I don't have children, but some of you may have children. And if you may, just imagining it's too much. If they've died or they're going to die. How can you live anymore? What was the point of life? You've given your whole life to the one you love. And what to speak of the residents of Vrindavan? They've given their whole life to Krishna. That's all they can think about. So Aghasura has had a plan to pay back Vrindavan in a big way. Aghasura thus decided to kill all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, expanding himself by the yogic city called Mahima. The demons are generally expert in achieving almost all kinds of mystic powers. In the yoga system by the perfection called Mahima city, one can expand himself as he desires. The demon Aghasura expanded himself up to 8 miles and assumed the shape of a very fat serpent. Having attained this wonderful body, he stretched his mouth open just like a mountain cave. That's not a mountain cave. Shri Shri Radharanath ki jai, Shri Gaur Hari ki jai, Giri Govardhan ki jai. Open, desiring to swallow all the boys at once, including Krishna and Balaram, he sat on the path. Balaram was there? Because, it was his birthday, wasn't it? Yeah, anyway, sorry. Maybe he thought he was going to be there. Or maybe he had to go back early. He saw him before, go back early home so he could get ready for his birthday. So this is connected to the kidnapping of the calves and the coward boys by Lord Brahma, because Parikshit Maharaj was asking, how come the coward, because every time Krishna kills a demon during the day, then they'll go home and they say, wow, Krishna did this today, he killed this demon. But the killing of Aghasura, the coward boys only explained it 1 year later. So Parikshit Maharaj was wondering why. And on this particular day, it was Balaram's birthday, so he didn't go with the coward boys. Rohini kept him home, and it's your birthday, so we're going to dress you, get you ready for your birthday. He didn't go. So that's why he also didn't know about the kidnapping. He didn't know that Krishna expanded himself. So that's why I found it interesting that Balaram's included. The demon in the shape of a big fat serpent expanded his lips from land to sky. His lower lip was touching the ground and his upper lip was touching the clouds. His jaws appeared like a big mountain cave without limitation, and his teeth appeared just like mountain summits. His tongue appeared to be a broad traffic way, and he was breathing just like a hurricane. His eyes were blazing like fire. At first, the boys thought that the demon was a statue, but after examining it, they saw that it was a big serpent lying down on the road, widening his mouth. The boys began to talk among themselves. Dear friends, this figure appears to be like a great animal and is sitting as such posture just to swallow us all. Just see, it is not a big snake, but is it not a big snake that is widening his mouth to eat us all? One of them said, yes, what you say is true. This animal upper lip appears just like the sunshine, and his lower lip just like a reflection of red sunshine on the ground. Dear friends, just look to the right and the left-hand side of the mouth of the animal. Its mouth appears to be like a big mountain cave, and its height cannot be estimated. The chin is also raised just like a mountain summit. That long highway appears to be its tongue, and inside the mouth it is as dark as a mountain cave. The hot wind that is blowing like a hurricane is his breathing, and the fishy bad smell coming out from his mouth is the smell of his intestines. Why would you go in? Then they further consulted among themselves. Oh, that's good. They had a meeting. Okay. The devotees like to have meetings. Okay, what should we do? If we had all at one time entered into the mouth of this great serpent, how could... Oh, wait. I think, was it in South America? Was Maharaj talking about something? I don't know. One devotee was talking about doing Harinam. And they'll do Harinam on one particular street. And then there was one street which was full of like meat shop. It's like street meat shops like hanging out on the side or cooking it like this. So they called that street the mouth of Aghasura. They consulted among themselves. If we all at once entered into the mouth of this great serpent, how could it possibly swallow us all? And even if it were to swallow all of us at once, it could not swallow Krishna. Krishna will immediately kill him, as he did Bakasura. Talking in this way, all the boys looked at the beautiful lotus-like face of Krishna. And they began to clap and smile. Okay, everyone look at Krishna and clap and smile. And they marched, and entered the mouth of the gigantic serpent. Meanwhile, Krishna, who is the super soul within everyone's heart, could understand that the big statuette figure was a demon. The boys did not know this, however. Thus, while Krishna was planning how to stop the destruction of his intimate friends, all the boys, along with their calves, entered the mouth of the serpent. But Krishna did not enter. The demon was waiting Krishna's entrance, and he was thinking, everyone has entered except Krishna, who has killed my brother and sister. I don't know why he sounds Nigerian, but Krishna is the assurance of safety to everyone. But when he saw that his friends were already out of his hands and were lying within the belly of a great serpent, he became momentarily aggrieved. He was also struck with wonder at how the external energy works so wonderfully. He then began to consider how he could kill the demon and at the same time save the boys and calves. Although there was no factual concern on Krishna's part, he was thinking like that. So it's quite interesting. Krishna actually got scared for the cowed boys. You know, he's thinking like, oh no, they're gone inside. I'm going to lose them. They're going to die. You know. And sometimes we don't see that side of Krishna in the scripture, but you see that a lot in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, especially amongst devotees. They're so emotional. Krishna's very emotional. Like he feels so much for his devotees, like the struggles they go through, or he's excited for them when they're in devotional service. He feels that he doesn't want his devotees to suffer, the living entities to suffer. He feels more pain than they do. This para dukkha dukkhi, it's actually the source of that is Krishna. And the devotees, they feel Krishna's pain. Oh, he's feeling their pain of his living entities, his parts and parcels, his children suffering in the material world. Let me relieve such suffering. That's why the pure devotee preaches. To relieve the suffering of Krishna. It's quite, to have compassion upon Krishna. It's quite an amazing concept. There's a book by Satsarup Maharaj. It's called Vaishnava Compassion. I highly recommend it. It's a small book. It's very short, but very deep. And opens ways of thinking we never thought before. Especially about compassion and Krishna's mood. Okay, where was I? Finding after some deliberation, he also entered the mouth of the demon. When Krishna entered, all the demigods who had gathered to see the fun and were hiding within the clouds expressed their feelings with the words, "Alas! Alas!" At the same time, all the friends of Aghasura, especially Kamsa, who were all accustomed to eating flesh and blood, expressed their jubilation. I don't know what they would say. Maybe, woohoo, yeah. Understanding that Krishna had also entered the mouth of the demon. While the demon was trying to smash Krishna and his companions, Krishna heard the demigods crying, "At last, at last!" And he immediately began to expand himself within the throat of the demon. Although he had a gigantic body, the demon choked by the expanding of Krishna. His big eyes moved violently and he quickly suffocated. His life air could not come out from any source, and he immediately burst out of a hole in the upper part of his skull. Thus his life air passed off. After the demon was dead, Krishna, with his transcendental glance alone, brought all the coward boys back to consciousness and came with them out of the mouth of the demon. While Krishna was within the mouth of Aghasura, the demon spirit soul came out like a dazzling light, illuminating all directions, and waited in the sky. As soon as Krishna came out of the mouth of the demon, his calves and friends, that glittering, effulgent light, immediately merged into the body of Krishna within the vision of all the demigods. So this is the mercy of Krishna. Even the demons get liberation. Whoever, all the demons that he killed, they all got liberated. What to speak of Putana, she became a nurse. And, Shukadev Goswami, I wish I remembered it. Aho Bhakti. Yeah. She came with intent to kill. But then Krishna, being Bhava Janardhan Bhagrahi, he accepts the bhav of the devotee. Putana was coming to kill, but she offered her breast milk as well, along with the poison. And Krishna only accepted the breast milk and sucked her life air. And then she attained as a nurse, a position of a nurse in the spiritual world. How amazing that is. This is unheard of. Krishna is fully, and it shows his independence as well. He decides. But lucky he's merciful. The demigods became overwhelmed with joy and showered flowers on the Supreme Personality of Krishna, and thus they worshipped him. The denizens of heaven danced in jubilation, and the denizens in Gandharva Loka offered various kinds of prayers. Drummers beat drums in jubilation. Okay, no drums here. The Brahmanas recited Vedic hymns, and all the devotees of the Lord chanted the words, Jai, Jai! All glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Lord Brahma heard those auspicious vibrations which sounded throughout the higher planetary system, he immediately came down to see what had happened. He saw that the demon was killed, and he was struck with wonder at the uncommon glorious pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this kirtan by the demigods could be heard all over the universe. Brahma is in Satyaloka. What's all this noise? The gigantic mouth of the demon remained in an open position for many days and gradually dried up. It remained a spot of pleasure pastimes for all the coward boys. So this big body of Aghasura actually became like a playground for the coward boys now. It's all dried up and they just play on there. So it's quite amazing. Maybe it was like some ulterior motive for the coward boys. I don't know. They have a playground now. The killing of Aghasura took place when Krishna always... It's funny, Putana, when they kill Putana, they cut her into pieces. So that's following the tradition, like if you find a snake, you have to cut it into pieces and burn it. Because it's said that a snake is very envious, and if there's like a partner or a friend of the snake, because it sees the person who killed it, and somehow the other snake can see within the eyes of the other dead snake, and then they come looking for that person. So maybe it's some village folklore. But then, so they have to chop the snake into pieces and burn it. They did that with Putana's body, but because she was touched by the Lord, and this beautiful aguru smell came. Aguru is a very nice scent, and it went for miles. So it's funny that even though they went with demoniac intent, because of just that contact with the Lord is Sudam and Apapavidam. He's pure and prophylactic. He's just like the sun, when it touches, if urine's there and the sun comes, it's not contaminated by the urine, but actually purifies the place. So Krishna, whoever gets in contact, or whatever contamination gets in contact with Krishna, it becomes purified. So we can see the demons, they get completely purified. The killing of Aghasura took place when Krishna and all his boyfriends were under 5 years old. Children under 5 years old are called Komara. From 5 years up to the 10th year, they are called Ponganda. And from the 10th year up to the 15th year, they are called Kaishore. After the 15th year, boys are called youths. For 1 year, there was no discussion of the incident of the Aghasura demon in the village of Braja. But when the boys attained their 6th year, they informed their parents of the incident with great wonder. For Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is far greater than such demigods as Lord Brahma, it is not at all difficult to award one the opportunity of merging with his eternal body. This he awarded to Aghasura. Aghasura was certainly the most sinful living entity, and it is not possible for the sinful to merge into the existence of the absolute truth. But in this particular case, because Krishna entered into Aghasura's body, the demon became fully cleansed of all sinful reactions. Persons constantly thinking of the eternal form of the Lord in the shape of the deity or in the shape of a mental form are awarded the transcendental benediction of entering into the kingdom of God and associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we can just imagine the elevated position of someone like Aghasura, into whose body the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, personally entered. Great sages, meditators, and devotees constantly thinking of the form of the Lord within their hearts, or they see the deity form of the Lord in the temples. In that way, they become liberated from all material contamination, and at the end of the body, enter into the kingdom of God. So Aghasura got purified because the Lord himself entered into his body. So we're talking about last night, Yadharani Mataji, she made an amazing cake for Kadambakana Swami. It was like in the form of a suitcase. There was like a book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it looked like a real book. Apparently you can have printed icing, and it looks like real. And it had all different aspects of like Maharaj's kind of life. There's like a passport. It's a cake, you can eat it. And there was like his Giriraj Shila was also there. So then, can you eat Giriraj? And then Maharaj, he declared, Prashadam is Krishna, and Krishna is Prashadam. So I was just thinking, like, Aghasura, he got purified just Krishna entering one time. Krishna, in the form of Prashadam, is entering our bodies a lot, isn't it? And, the scientists say every 7 years, all the cells are completely replaced. So then, if you eat like Mahaprashadam for 7 years, does your body, become completely Mahaprashadam? So, if we learn from Aghasura, it means you have to take more prashadam. Mahaprashadam ki! This perfection is possible simply by keeping the form of the Lord within the mind. But in the case of Aghasura, the Supreme Personality of God had personally entered. Aghasura's position was therefore greater than the ordinary devotees or the greatest yogi. Maharaj Parikshit, who was engaged in hearing the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna, who saved the life of Maharaj Parikshit while he was in the womb of his mother, became more and more interested to hear about him. And thus he questioned the sage Shukadeva Goswami, who was reciting Srimad Bhagavatam before the king. King Parikshit was a bit astonished to understand that the killing of Aghasura demon was not discussed for 1 year until after the boys attained the Paganda age. Maharaj Parikshit was very inquisitive to learn about this, for he was sure that such an incident was due to the working of Krishna's different energies. Generally, the Kshatriyas or administrative class are always busy with their political affairs, and they have very little chance to hear about the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna. We also feel the same way, right? We're so busy, I don't have time to read. I have to read, but no time. I'm busy. So The Kshatriyas have the same problem. But while Parikshit Maharaj was hearing these transcendental pastimes, he considered himself to be very fortunate, because not only was he hearing Krishna's pastimes, but he was doing so from Shukadeva Goswami, the greatest authority on Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus being requested by Maharaj Parikshit, Shukadeva Goswami continued to speak about the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna in the matter of his form, qualities, fame, and paraphernalia. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 12th chapter of Krishna, the killing of Aghasura demon. Srila Prabhupada ki! Is there any further comments or questions or thoughts or reflections about this pastime? I'm sure many have, yes. There's a microphone.
Hare Krishna. When Kadambakana Swami was here, maybe about a decade ago, he performed this leela in the temple room, where there was a giant sort of snake made. It was very animated, and it was so big that the actors could actually enter into the mouth of the serpent. And when Krishna expanded himself, there was actual greeny stuff that poured out from the head of the serpent. So he did a really fantastic job at enacting this pastime in this temple room.
Oh, they did it here as well?
Yeah.
Okay. I heard they did it in Vrindavan also. Nice. Jai. Yeah, you could do some fire pastimes. I saw it also on the Polish tour. They did the same pastime with the Aghasura demon. Big blow up, kind of inflated snake. It takes up the whole stage, and Krishna and the cowboys go inside. Yeah, the pastimes of Krishna, we can really creativity can be really invoked in terms of drama or art or even writing. And these pastimes are very unlimited. There's further details you can find about them as well. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote his Chaitanya Shikshamrita, and each demon represents a particular type of anartha that we have to face. So by hearing these pastimes, you can get rid of that anartha. I don't know what Aghasura represents, though. Does anyone know?
He's the envious of all Vrajavasis. He's the only demon who wants to kill all Vrajavasis, not just Krishna. Only Indra wanted to kill all. Just like Aghasura. Because of his envy. He couldn't tolerate that they're happy. And I wonder, maybe you have heard, I never heard, why, how come that Vrajavasis didn't discover this
big snake?
1
year ago.
1 year, yes, one year it was lying there, undiscovered.
8-mile giant snake. Yes. And they were playing on it as well, so I don't know. We'll have to find out. Anyone know? Okay. Anyone else?
It's interesting that these three, Aghasura, Bakasura, and Putana, were all liberated because they were related to Putana. These two other demons, Baka and Aghasura, they were related to Putana, and therefore they were liberated. and she was devotee from her previous life with desire to kill Krishna also.
Yes.
Very interesting story.
Yeah. Yeah. So Putana was the sister.
I think she was a sister of
Sister of
Bali.
Bali Maharaj. Yes. So in the pastime of Bali Maharaj and Vamana Dev, the sister of Bali Maharaj, when seeing Vamana Dev, found it so adorable and wanted to, had this Vatsalya above, wanted to breastfeed Vamana Dev. But then on taking the whole universe and tying up Bali Maharaj and humiliating him, then she had this like, oh, I want to kill him. So then appeared as Putana, and Krishna reciprocated in both ways. Yeah. So yes, Spirit. Oh, okay. Sorry, stretching. Yeah. But yeah, like this whole intent, she just really, Krishna really took only the good from Putana. And we can see, like you said, just being related to Putana, the Bakasura and Agusura could be liberated. It reminds me of another pastime of Lord Chaitanya. We'll finish with this. Lord Chaitanya was having prasadam in the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Big feast was prepared. Huge. And they set Lord Chaitanya down and he was honoring prasadam. Then the son-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, his name's Amoga, he walks past and he goes, how's this sannyasi? He's just eating so much, he's stuffing his face. Nearly said something like that. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife was so angry. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya chased him with a stick. You rascal, how can you offend the Lord? And he's running away like this, Lord Chaitanya didn't take any offense. He was kind of laughing a bit, family affairs, look at that. And then eventually Amoga, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife, they felt like so bad. Oh, my dear Lord, sorry for his offense, and the wife was like pounding her chest, may my daughter become a widow, like this, to make up for the offense. So eventually, Amoga, he was it cholera or leprosy? Cholera. Yeah, he got cholera and he was so sick. He was about to die. And someone about to Bhattacharya and his wife was like, oh yes, of course, this is why, you offended the Lord. And Lord Chaitanya came and correct me what he actually said and did. Did he touch his chest? And what did he say?
He asked him how could he let this envy to enter his heart. Because he's Brahmana and should be without this envy. And so he purified him and cured him.
Of the karma.
And I think he instructed him to glorify also Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. And he, of course, he said to him that this mercy of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
Yeah. And they were confused. They're like, why did you deliver him? He was so offensive. He could have got purified, he could have got what he deserved.
Sarvabhauma wasn't satisfied.
He wasn't satisfied. No,
yes, he
wasn't
him
happy.
to die.
No, he wanted him to die, And Lord Chaitanya says, no, don't worry, even your whole family is dear to me. Even your dog is dear to me. So we sort of, especially when we're practicing devotees, we think, what about my family especially? Can't they be devotees? My parents, my grandparents, my children, my relatives, cousins. What about them? But they get benefit from your devotional service. Lord Chaitanya is like, even your dog is dear to me. So, that connection, it spreads so much. Just like Prahlad Maharaj was praying for to Nishingadev. Nishingadev's asking for, ask for a boon, anything you want. No, this is business. No, come on, just ask something. Okay, deliver my father. Your father, don't worry, 7 generations before and after is delivered. I remember reading a purport about that, deliverance of the different generations. And in the purport, Prabhupada says, it's not even in this lifetime. We've been in many families. So that's included too. So I was just thinking even further, what if you're like in a family of ants? Did they get delivered too? So anyway. But like the mercy, that Krishna's so merciful, and there's a verse, if one meditates or thinks or stretches their intelligence to understand the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, they'll be struck by wonder. It's a verse like that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. May we always be meditating on the mercy of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gantarashram Bhagavatam ki jai. Jai Go Premanande.